I am an author. Today we're going to talk about bullying. Specifically, how to write a good bullying scene. So let me introduce you to my story. The hallway smelled of sweat, floor polish, and the faint sting of teenage cruelty. Autumn's cheer jacket, bright red with gold stripes, had always been a badge of her hard work. It was stitched with her name, a piece of her identity. But that afternoon, under the flickering lights of the senior hallway, it became a trophy for someone else's cruelty. She didn't see the shove coming only, felt the thud of her shoulder slamming into a locker and the sharp jerk his hands yanked at her arms. Laughter rose around her like a wave, deafening and sharp, as the boy everyone feared Chase Militor the jacket from her body with a vicious twist. The metal zipper scratched her cheek. His smirk was cold, eyes glinting with that sick kind of delight that came from knowing no one would stop him. Then came the shove, hot enough to send her stumbling, and his mocking voice telling her to walk home in her real clothes. The hallway doors swung shut behind him, trapping his laughter inside her head. The air in her lungs felt heavy, her hands trembling as if every muscle in her body was screaming to do something but she didn't. Not then. She bent to pick up her dropped books, feeling the heat of dozens of eyes that didn't meet hers. People turned away, pretending to be busy, because in this school, Chase's shadow stretched far. That night, Autumn sat on her bed, staring at the bare space on her wall where her cheer jacket used to hang. Her chest ached not because of the jacket itself, but because of what it represented. She had spent 3 years climbing her way onto the team. Every extra practice, every pulled muscle. Every night she cried into her pillow after another coach's critique. It had all been worth it the moment she put that jacket on. Now it felt like he'd ripped away not just fabric, but the proof of who she was. The thing about humiliation is that it doesn't fade quietly. It grows, pulsing, gnawing at you in the dark, until it becomes something sharper than sadness, something close to rage. She tried to tell herself to ignore it, to let it go, because confronting Chase was like throwing yourself into a pit of knives. But something inside her refused to stay quiet. She had been stepped on before when her parents divorced, when she transferred schools, when whispers followed her in the cafeteria. But never like this. Never so public. The following week felt like slow torture. Chase wore her jacket in the halls sometimes, not even bothering to take off the name patch. He called it ironic fashion. His friends laughed. Teachers looked away. Each time Autumn saw it, her stomach twisted tighter. She began to notice the details about him, how he always kept his right hand free, how he leaned against lockers just so, how he gripped things. She started watching, waiting, not for a chance to talk. Those words would only get twisted. She wanted a chance to act. The turning point came on a Friday afternoon after practice. She had been in the gym alone, running her stunts long after everyone left, when she heard voices from the parking lot. Chase was there, leaning against a car, still wearing her jacket. He was trying to impress a crowd with some story, gesturing with his hands. Her chest burned. She walked toward him, slow and steady, each step deliberate. He saw her, and the smirk returned like a reflex. But when she reached him, she didn't say a word. She simply grabbed the front of her jacket, twisting it in her fist. He tried to pull away, but she was faster. Her other hand shot up, grabbing his fingers, those long, cocky fingers he always used to point, and Siobhan bent them back with a force born of weeks of pent-up fury. The snap wasn't bone-breaking, but it was enough to make him cry out, enough to wipe the smirk off his face. His friends froze. Autumn pulled the jacket from his body in one sharp motion, stepping back before he could recover. She didn't say a word, didn't gloat. She just walked away, the jacket warm in her hands, her pulse pounding in her ears. For the first time in weeks, she felt the air in her lungs move freely. The parking lot was silent except for his muffled swearing. So the big question for you today is, why did Autumn confront Chase? What pushed her over the edge? Well, in this case, it was the small, repeated acts of aggression from Chase and the bystanders. Small moments that chipped away at herself. She felt powerless because in the moment, she couldn't fight back. She felt invisible because people just looked away. They didn't intervene. They didn't stand up for her. And this is actually a really interesting look at how bullying affects people. Most of us don't come out and directly attack the bully. We freeze. We hope that maybe they'll just leave us alone. But when those moments keep adding up and you realize nobody's going to help you, sometimes you just have to take a stand. In terms of pacing, you can think of this scene in 2 parts. In part 1, we're building tension. Everything is about setting the scene, introducing Chase, and highlighting his power and influence. Part 2 is the confrontation. And here, we want to see action, dialogue, conflict. Okay, so let's dive into it. What makes this scene work? 1. Our reader knows Autumn is upset. We see it in her actions. She sat on her bed, staring at the bare space on her wall. And we hear it in her thoughts. Each time Autumn saw him, her stomach twisted tighter. This builds tension and anticipation. Why does she sit there staring? What happened in the jacket? Why is she fixated on this empty space? The answer hooks our curiosity. 2. Autumn is a passive character. She's not usually aggressive. She's nice, and this creates internal conflict for her. She's torn between wanting to confront Chase and the fear of retaliation. 3. We build tension by showing Chase's taunts are escalating. First, he wears a jacket. Then he starts taking it off, displaying the name. He actively tries to provoke her. 4. We know Chase is powerful. The entire school lets him walk all over them. No one wants to get on his bad side. 5. Autumn has nowhere to turn for help. Adults, look away. Friends, don't intervene. Even her own family is distant. Her parents were divorced. She felt alone. 6. We see a change in Autumn's demeanor when she confronts Chase. It's a bold move and it surprises us. And this shift signals a turning point in the story. Okay, so let's see what happens when we remove these elements. When we take out the buildup, the internal conflict, the escalation, the power dynamics, Autumn just suddenly attacks Chase. It feels jarring. Like, why is she doing this? We have no emotional investment in the conflict. And when we take out the action, the confrontation, it just becomes a sad pity party. We're stuck in Autumn's head, over and over, hearing about how awful everything is. It's depressing, but it's not engaging. Our goal is to keep readers engaged, to make them care about what happens to Autumn. So we need to balance both of these things. Here are some writing prompts for you. Think about a time when you stood up for yourself or someone else. How did you feel? What made you take action? Who are you? What do you value? And how does this affect your decisions? Take a character who is not like you, someone who would not behave in the same way. How would they respond? What would motivate them? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.